Hey guys, we've been talking about the three prongs of the new MOWG evolution is new integrations, things like payment buttons, newsletters, pop-ups, exit modules, things like that, live chat, Calendly, different things like that. Then we also talked about the ability of the websites to check them, to manage themselves, to track how users behave scrolling down the page and clicking on buttons, and actually go for measurables and make adjustments to find the best advantage of the measurables, and to be able to check in with other websites to see how they're performing too, to see what they learn. As a matter of fact, the websites are teaching the websites. There aren't humans involved at this level. This is where we're headed. It'll take a little while to get it all set up, but being involved now just means that your websites will simply get equipped with the new elements as they go live. Every day we got new stuff coming out, so every day we're putting new stuff into the new websites. That's just nuts. So every time you log into the admin panel, there's more stuff there that you can activate and play with. Having said all that, then of course the third part is making the major transition from Spintax to AI generated content that's top quality, top tier content without question. The AI bots that we're using, some of them out there, good ones, write better than humans write. They're more engaging, they're more convincing, they're more friendly, they're more sensible. They write more fully about the topic. And it's perfect, and they speak like a human, they think like a human as far as you can tell. All the writing is awesome. So as long as we have babysitters managing that, the output is unbelievable. And it's written as though totally by different writers. So this is great. That means no footprints, no nothing. You know, the websites are amazing. Now, having said all that, one of the other things you were saying is as we're using the best content to get the websites and whatever integrations you like to activate for actions, to get the websites to aim for the highest conversion factors, we're brought back to this foundational point, and that's this. You have to be able to tell the bots from the humans, or you have to measure what you would call bots plus the wrong humans, guys who landed on the page who are not engaging on the page. All I mean by the wrong humans is they land on the page and they think, not interested, and off the page they go. The wrong people, the wrong leads, versus the right leads. Other guys who land on the page go, they start scrolling down and getting interested. That's the idea, right? You want them to engage. Now, having said all that, what we have been tightening up behind the scenes on the bots. It's so big a deal, right? So like I said, we block over 1,600 known bots that name themselves sufficiently. That still leaves bots that don't name themselves. But here's another thing that we checked into, and we can do this, or we're doing this, is on our servers, we can block hits from outside the country. I'm just throwing that in. We already knew that we could do that. But we're actually going to make some strong calls on that. We don't have any clients in China. We're not aiming for anyone in China. We're not aiming for anyone in Russia right now. We don't have any clients from Russia. There are a lot of countries that we could simply block where we get a lot of hits from those countries in the system because they just like to scan and check things and measure stuff. But anyway, so blocking countries to the point where we can just have the countries we want, okay? So the US, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Britain, and then some other countries that are outliers where we get traffic anyway, like the Netherlands, Germany. We get buyers from these countries, a few others. So it's easy enough for us to decide what to go for and what not to. Block everyone else, right? So to speak. Whoever's not in your market, block them. This gets rid of a lot of the bots by blocking the originating countries by IP prefixes. Okay, still doesn't get rid of all the bots. But here's a third layer that we're going to use too, which is going to help a lot. What is not the name of the bots and what is not the countries of origin by IP address? In other words, some Chinese bots are still going to use US IP addresses that they rent, and they're going to run traffic through there. So they look like they're in the US, and many bots are homegrown tools or old style softwares that still sell, and guys use them. They're just tools that guys get fascinated by and use to see what they can do with them. And they're in the US anyway. And they are not calling themselves bots, and they are in the US. So what do you do about them? Third layer. That's the one that we checked into, and we can do this. We can block hits from browsers that are not known user browsers. How many known user browsers can you name? Well, you can name Google Chrome, you can name Firefox, you know Microsoft Edge, you know that there's Safari, you know that there's Opera, okay? There's DuckDuckGo. Okay, we never get any sales from any DuckDuckGo guy, so that's something we might just block. But have you ever seen anyone using Netscape lately? Or what about the really old styles of Internet Explorer, like Internet Explorer 7 or 8 or 4 or 5, right? Here's the thing. A lot of bots call themselves, they say, they report when they appear that they're HTTP referring agent, because this is how it works. Every time you connect, it asks you, like to a website, it asks you, what browser are you on? So actually when you connect, you just send the information. Any idea why? Because the other end needs to know what kind of data to send to you. And sometimes guys who are complex enough will send data built for different browsers differently, because the browsers are different. So they interpret differently. So anyway, the point is, if you block, there's something called WebKit compatible. It's a kind of browser that bots are often using, whether they call themselves a bot or not. But if the HTTP referrer agent is a WebKit compatible browser, everyone's accepting it by default, but we don't have to. We can block those hits. That blocks the bot hits. And also, we can block Netscape. Who uses Netscape today? Right? There might be a few people out there who are real people who use Netscape, and maybe one of them will be a buyer one day. But do you know what? I don't want to mess with Netscape. For the 1 or 2 or 3 possible buyers that come out of it in the next 4 years, I got to deal with hundreds of thousands of website hits across all of our websites from Netscape bots, because they're not human. And so by cutting down on that kind of bot activity, what's that mean? It just helps us know better what our metrics are supposed to be, right? So if you think, wow, I had 1,000 hits to my webpage, but only 5 buyers, shouldn't I have had 50 buyers? Then you're going around trying to make changes to your webpage, right? Well, you're making changes to aim for a better conversion rate because you're pretty sure you should be able to get one, but you're not getting one. You're probably even doing worse now. Now you're getting 3 out of 1,000 instead of 5. And it's because you were responding to the wrong thing. You thought you were having a low conversion rate. You weren't. It's 900 of the 1,000 hits were bots. So once you know the 100 that are human and that your conversion rate is right, finally you've got your metrics dialed in properly. Now it's time to scale. You would not have scaled before because it would have been too expensive. You would have thought 1,000 hits, 5 sales, how am I supposed to scale? Not going to do it. But if you realize 100 hits, 5 sales, yes, I can afford to scale. Right? Especially if you're blocking bots along the way. All right, there you go. Just wanted to let you know that another element of what we're coming out with to help with this whole MOWG evolution, because it's really amazing to do stuff right, is blocking bots more efficiently, and in this case blocking browsers that are unused today by humans, right? There you go. And I do want to reiterate, the idea that we have going forward is that the websites are checking anyway. So a website that sees 1,000 people landed on the page, but only 100 started scrolling down at all, so we already know that 900 hits were wrong. We don't know if they're bots or if they're just people in the wrong place, but we know that only 100 started scrolling down. See, it's the first scroll down piece that we even care about at all when people land on the page, right? And that's the stuff that most websites will never tell you, because they never ever track that. You always hear people split test because they got a page here and a page here, and they're trying to see which one works better. This has more information, that has less, or who knows what. Or this has this kind of information, that has that kind, or this moves the information around in this order, and that has the information in that order. This is trying to use one color, that's trying to use another. But that's just a very vague set of very few uncontrolled tests. That's just throwing a couple of different websites out, web pages out there that you think might do the trick well, and seeing which one works. Why not have each page automatically track its own user behavior and make adjustments to improve upon it, and then finally, when it's hitting the goals or as close as possible to the goals, you know that these are the best arrangements so far that anyone's thought of, right? You can introduce new concepts at that point and raise the bar, right? But you're making the right decisions on each of these split tested pages. You can take 2 split tested pages and make them both perform extremely well. You might even see why that one's performing well and why that one's performing well, which are totally different reasons, and aim each one at its appropriate market now that you got them dialed in for the best conversion rates, okay? That's where we're going. That's the next evolution, and that's the stuff we're building on a daily basis that's going right into the websites you get at Website Installer, and they go into the websites we use for backlinking at Website Marketing Solutions, and they go into the websites that are used for the industries through Decrypt My Leads, the positions. So whether you're coming in here, here, or here, or any combination, all of this is going to apply to you because it applies to all of our forward-moving websites, all of it. And then the stuff that's automated, the integrations, the section rearrangement, the on-page tracking, it goes back compatible for the past, basically all of 2022. Basically any website anyone got in 2022 is going to have all of that. The only thing that would be a separate purchase altogether is buying new content, because that is a new cost. That's a different method than the old days, okay? But even that we've gotten under control. At $1,000, that economy of scale, you can get the pages for $1 a page. That's 1,000 pages that are written incredibly well and totally differently. So if you thought, what's 1,000 pages mean? Divide by 5, that's 200 per set, like a 5-page website, those 5 points. And so you got 200 of those. That means you can deal with maybe 200 cities, or you're going after 20 cities, but with 10 websites, 200, okay? Wow, really powerful stuff. And I got webinars coming up so that we can explain this kind of thing. So definitely be on the lookout for the webinar information and definitely get into one of those. All right, talk to you soon.